Welcome to the groundbreaking event that stands at the crossroads of progress and security. Today, we gather here with a sense of purpose, driven by the urgent need to safeguard the heart of Maputo, Mozambique, the bustling port that connects nations, fuels economies, and holds the promise of a brighter future. In the pursuit of progress, we cannot overlook the significance of port security and safety. It is a foundation upon which the pillars of trade, commerce, and prosperity are built. Recognizing this, the Port Security and Safety of Navigation Program, financed by the European Union, coordinated by the Indian Ocean Commission, and co-implemented by different UN agencies like UNODC, IMO, and Interpol, proudly presents an impactful awareness campaign that aims to transform the landscape of port operations in Maputo. Our objective is clear: to enlighten and empower. Through an immersive seminar, we will unlock the realm of knowledge, embracing the expertise of local, international luminaries who have dedicated their lives to fortifying port security worldwide. Together, we will delve deep into the intricacies of risk assessment, emergency response protocols, and the implementations of best practices that serve as a shield against potential threats. But this gathering goes beyond mere lectures and discussion. It is a space for collaboration, for the convergence of minds passionate about the safety and well-being of our maritime hub. Engaging panel discussions and dynamic Q&A sessions will provide a platform for dialogue, enabling participants to share their invaluable insights, express their concerns, and contribute to the collective wisdom that will guide us forward. Also, we'll have the honor and pleasure to welcome the Deputy Minister of Transport and Communication, Honorable Hamilton Alisone, who will deliver a welcome note to one and all later during the day. Today marks the beginning of a journey, an awareness campaign that will instill a profound sense of responsibility, foster a culture of preparedness, and empower all those involved to create an impregnable fortress of safety within our cherished port of Maputo. So, let us embark on this voyage together, fueled by a shared commitment to protect, preserve, and propel our port forward for a future defined by security, progress, and unwavering determination. Welcome to the Port Security and Safety in Maputo, a campaign that will leave an undeniable mark on the shores of this beloved nation. So let me discuss the format of this seminar. I will be asking questions on different themes to our esteemed panelists from Mozambique and international panelists who are here, international guests. And at the end of each theme, if ever you have any questions, you have some views, or you have some experiences to share, you please ask the permission. We'll try to give you, some time to explain or ask as many questions as you want. So I will let our dear panelists to introduce themselves.
My name is Lorenzo Machado. I'm working for Peter Ma. I'm working for maritime affairs for about 24 years. I've been working for safety and security division for 5 years, and then from 2017 up to now, I'm working to the maritime transport division. And then we're here today together to move along with this pay as I'm saying port, security, and safety of navigation. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Lorenzo. On my close right there is Sonia Jamiz. Sonia. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Sonia Jamis. I work in the maritime sector since 2010. Before I was a nautical student. I'm a ship surveyor and ISPS implementation officer also. Thank you.
My name is Armando Alva. I'm head of maritime safety and environment protection division of ITRASMAT. My duty is to conduct inspections under port state control, fleet state control, and carry out inspection to carry out the maritime investigations and everything connected with them. Thanks.
Thank you. We have also Dr. Michele Stallone. Doctor, may we have your introduction, please?
Buon dia and good morning to all of you. I'm Michele Stallone. I'm the regional coordinator for the Port Security Program, a program which is covering quite an area which starts from the Horn of Africa and goes all the way down Western Indian Ocean region, including South Africa, and goes up with Angola, Namibia and Angola, including the main Indian Ocean islands, like Comoros, Madagascar, Mauritius and Seychelles. I've been working in this region since quite a number of years, since 2010, when the issue of piracy started in the Horn of Africa, and then when the international community decided to do something, because we know that some countries, special littoral states, they rely their economies on tourism, on fishery, coastal tourism, and so on. So since then I've been working in the region. I am currently based in Mauritius, in Port Louis, at the premises of the Indian Ocean Commission. Thank you.
Also welcome all the students of the Nautical Science University of Maputo who are here to grace us with their presence. Let us have a round of applause for all of them. Thank you and welcome to this seminar. So I will start with my first question with Dr. Lorenzo, as he has been working in the port security sector for quite a lot of time. Doctor, we speak about risk assessment. We see it as a critical component of port security. Considering the unique geographical and operational characteristics of Maputo's port, what specific risk and vulnerabilities should be given priority in the risk assessment process? So we'll talk a bit slow in English for you to get, and then if ever you have any questions, don't hesitate to put it to our dear panelists.
Thank you for a very important question. Before going directly to the question, I would like to call the student to bring them inside of this issue of security, port security. As you may know, in 2021, there was a problem in the United States. I think some of you maybe had 2 years or 5 years, but there was a big problem in the United States. I think some who has maybe 20, 25 years, 25 no, 27, may recall to that problem. And then the International Maritime Organization thought if that happened with aeroplane, can happen with ports and ships. And then so the International Maritime Organization adopted an amendment on SOLAS. SOLAS is set of like at sea, is an international convention on chapter 11.1. So Mozambique, as a member of International Maritime Organization since 1979, also ratified the code that was adopted in 2024. From adoption of the code by ratifying it, IMO and the United States Coast Guard were running a training to officers from public agencies and then training from port officers, so that in the meantime we should comply with the code. That happened from 2204 and until 2017. During this period, after adopting the code, after having been trained the public agencies officers and the port officers, so we started the implementation of ISPS code.
Okay.
How we should implement the ISPS code? We have to identify the threats, the risk assessment.
Okay.
It has to identify what are the potential threats, what are the gaps that need to be filled, those gaps that must be brought into the protection plan of that port. And then as the code is general for all countries, it has no, it does not have, how can I say, penalties. So the country thought we have to regulate the ISPS code. That's why in 2017, the government has approved a decree that is 2071/2017 of 20 December. There is a code plus what we as a country we have to do. There are some committees that is in this regulation. And then going to directly to the question, what can be the risk, what is seen or
The vulnerabilities.
Yes, the vulnerabilities. When we talk about the risk assessment, as I said, we have to identify the gap, the threats. That is not something that is done once in a port and it is finished. If something happens as the building of that bridge that is coming across the port, there was necessary to make a risk assessment. What is going to happen as the road, the bridge is passing through or is passing by the port? What can happen if someone can throw the bomb or something else? And then there was a need to make a risk assessment. The bridge as such, it can become a threat for the port. It was necessary to make a risk assessment to see how we can prevent situations that should come from the bridge to the port. Another situation, as we know, the port is in the city. This area has a fishermen. This area is an area where people live. This area we have situations of beach.
You have different stakeholders.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we have beach, but beach is around the port. We have the fishermen that are living next to the port. The beach, these fishermen can be used to affect the port. What can be done? The port of Maputo, as we know, it has aligned all the structures of security with the court. We have the protection or security plan approved. We have the risk assessment, as I said, approved. And then we have that area that we call Maputo. But as I have here my colleagues, I will pass the microphone for my colleague. Thank you.
Thank you. Sonia, so you are a ship surveyor, and like Doctor mentioned about ISPS, you are an ISPS implementation officer. So that question goes directly to you. And you know, in Maputo, like Doctor mentioned, we have different risks. We need to conduct assessment. So where we need to put our priority in this process? Where should the priority be for the port of Maputo?
As Mr. Machado said, we have a lot of risk. The first one I want to emphasize is the new bridge.
New bridge.
We have that bridge connecting Maputo and Katem.
Okay.
As Mr. Machado make for us to know, someone can drop a bomb. It's a risk.
It's a risk.
High risk.
Yeah.
It's necessary to make a risk assessment, to evaluate our risk assessment and implement the plan that we made after we made the risk assessment. Has as part of the government institution, we supervise.
You supervise.
We supervise. First of all, we analyze the risk assessment, we approve the risk assessment, and we analyze the plan, and after that, we certify the port.
Okay.
As the port is more secure.
Okay. Thank you. So on my close left, we have Mr. Armando Alvaro. You're the head of Maritime Safety and Environment Protection. So, sir, when we talk about risk and vulnerabilities, we need to have a priority list to make the security assessment. What are your views on this? When we talk about risk, we talk about calamities, we talk about accidents, we talk about, any potential terrorism risk. So what is your appreciation of this question?
Thank you. That I told you the first. I'm policy officer. Our priority job really for this area is to ensure if the vessel, when it comes in our ports, if it is safe, in safe condition and about his security.
Yeah.
For example, I'm port control office. When ship becomes in our ports, he must inform us before where it's come from.
So this is a process.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's process. He must inform us before where it come from. After it arrives in our ports, when we go to inspect, we can analyze which ports this vessel was passing. Exactly in the last 10 ports, we analyze in these ports what kind of security it is implementing in these ports. After checking them, we go inside of the ship, and then we ensure the identity of the crew.
We identify the crew.
We identify the crew where they come from.
The background check.
Exactly. If all of them, they are free. If anyone has any blind before, after then carry out the inspection, we finish. We can ensure if the vessel is in good condition for stay in our port.
So you do the inspection yourself, or your officers do the inspection?
Usually, it's supposed to be our officers.
Okay.
But nowadays, until now, we don't have a sufficient officers for the cover of the country.
Okay.
That's why now we are training the new inspectors under this area. I can't say that we are carrying inspection just now. No, I can't invent it. We are trying new inspectors under this port.
Yes.
So it's necessary to explain that to ensure to have the port state office for the carry out in good conditions in the foreign vessels, it's necessary to train on the first the inspectors who can be able to carry out inspection on the first or under the flag state implementation. This is the process for we can after then to film this course of flag state implementation. After then they can be when we choose after to classify that they are able.
They are able.
They are able.
Then you give them permission to enter.
And then we give a permission to enter in foreign vessels for to carry out inspection under the port state control. This is our procedures.
Okay. Thank you. May I now come to Dr. Stallone, who is an expert in this field. So, Doctor, when we talk about risk assessment, which is a critical component of port security, so I believe you have worked with the port of Maputo very closely. So to you, what specific risk and vulnerabilities should be given priority? Because you're having a bird's view of the port, so we're glad to have your views on this question.
Thank you very much for the interesting question. But before providing a reply, I would like just to know who am I talking to, because I am very pleased to see that attendees are coming from a domain which one day might see them working in the ports, on board of vessels, in public administration related to the maritime domain. So I would just start asking and telling you always this sentence: prevention is better than cure. We heard about this acronym ISPS code. We also heard about Dr. Machado telling after the 9/11, when the Twin Towers were smashed in the US, what the world decided to adopt. The ISPS code, it's an acronym which stands for International Ships and Port Facilities Security Code. So it is not only the implementation of security measures that a country has to do in the port, but it is also a number of rules that the vessel calling the port has to comply with. Because, for instance, if there is a risk of any kind of attack in the port, the level of security is automatically increased. But the same level of security is also increased on the vessels which are calling the port. Or if already in the port, at the anchor, they need to raise the security level. Risk assessment, and specifically for the port of Maputo. We heard that when bad guys, they intend to create panic, because this is in the philosophy of the terrorism, to create panic. They try to make sabotage, to place bomb, to launch attacks. And we have seen what means launching an attack with the airplanes. We have also, and I would like to quote other example of attacks with the truck running over people who were just walking on the seaside a few years back in Europe. What's next? Are we expecting a vessel full of explosive coming towards a port with no crew, because the crew has been kidnapped, and the kidnappers, the terrorists, have set up the autopilot, and it will smash against the fuel depot which are nearby the port area. Prevention is better than cure. And early warning is a tool to prevent that these attacks or these threats are happening. Early warning means that those people who are working in a specific domain, they share the information amongst themselves. When a vessel is leaving port of Dar es Salaam, for instance, and it has declared that it is calling, the next port of call will be the port of Maputo, then it is this distance which needs to be kept under control. The voyage of the vessel needs to be monitored. We heard from Mr. Armando Alvaro that in one of his duties, when they exercise the port state obligation, they conduct inspection on board, but not inspection to check for drugs or weapons or illegal goods. First of all, to check on the seaworthiness condition of the vessel, if those vessels are still in a condition to sail in accordance with the international maritime conventions. So it is important that the vessel, prior calling a port, is properly monitored, checked and assessed whether it has had in the past any accident related to security, whether this vessel has on board a crew list amongst which some seafarers might be on the watch list of the Interpol. All those activities need to be performed. And of course, these activities are currently performed in some ports of the region where the port security program is being implemented. And this is also something that yesterday, during a workshop which we had here, just in the next conference room, we proposed to the authorities of Mozambique, the maritime authorities, to adopt this mechanism, this information sharing mechanism, because you need to understand that the more fragmented are the responsibilities in the security, then the more loopholes will be. I'm not saying that there should be only one person who is controlling everything, not at all. But there should be a mechanism in place where at least each authority can complement each other, so that with the information which is stemming from their own mandate, so that at the end they have a clear picture of what's happening on that vessel which is calling the port of Maputo. I don't know if I replied to your question, but for me, risk assessment, as it was mentioned, is key, because we know that there are emerging threats like cybersecurity. I don't know if you are aware that a few years back, some hackers, of course, financed by a terrorist group, they were capable of changing electronically the content of the goods in the containers on some ro-ro vessels, which were carrying, on the paper it was carrying goods, normal merchandise, but there were weapons inside. Weapons, yes, and also nuclear material. So think about the importance of those risk assessment, the matrix, how the country needs to address this potential threat. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Stallone. So may I invite the floor, if you have any observation, any questions, any views you want to share, or you want to add anything on the what we call the risk assessment or any component of port security up to now? Any questions? Any observation?
Yes, morning. Good morning. Thanks for the opportunity. My question is directly about the risk. My question comes directly to Mr. Miguel Astalon.
Yeah.
Yes.
You say that we have heard that are trying to do some things to turn the rules that you are doing to avoid the how can I say, to avoid those risks that we're having right now. So I would like to know that here in Mozambique, especially on port security, do we have some team that are working right now to avoid those harbors, or we are just knowing and we're doing nothing to avoid them?
So for now, do you have any other questions concerning this specific hurdle? Okay, Dr. Stallone, please.
Please. You can continue with
You
your
can
question.
continue, complete your question, and then we are going to respond. Please, briefly.
Yes. The other question comes about the bridge. We built a bridge that is helping us so much, but in the same time, I guess that it's harming other people. Before the bridge, we know that there are a lot of people that were transporting parcels using small boats as their daily routine. It were their jobs.
Yeah.
And because of the bridge, I guess now they are jobless, I can say like that. They're jobless, or they had to find or look for other jobs. So my question is, are we doing, or did we do something for them because they're not working and maybe they're not helping their family? Are we doing something for them, or did we do something for them? That is my second question.
Okay. Thank you. So the first question for Dr. Michele Sterani, and then the other question maybe from the national agencies. Dr. Sterani, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the interesting questions. And you raise a very good point, because as you correctly pointed out, and this is based on experience, so it's a lessons learned that a country should put in place all the measures to avoid that the hackers can manipulate the data, because we know how much important is the possession of the data. We can just refer to the latest hackers attack as a revenge coming from the war between Ukraine and Russia, that they are attacking public administration, IT infrastructure, okay, just to boycott, because they are supporting Ukraine. What I would like to say is that the security measures starts with us. Mm-hmm. It's important that, especially for those who are working in public administration, they just implement the simple security IT rules. For instance, not using private emails when you are accessing to the computer of your work or to desktop of your office, or circulating with the USB stick, which can be very, very vulnerable to malware and software which are done on purpose to activate and to read data when you are sleeping. So it's just a change of mindset. Security starts with us. Mm-hmm. Security starts with, those are the basic rules which need to be put in place. Of course, it's a collective effort. It's an aspect that all the public administration, especially those who are involved in the maritime transport sector, because vessels are there to perform their business, to carry on their business. We know that of the worldwide economy goes by sea. So you can imagine, if there is an interruption of the supply chain, then the economy of the countries will just collapse immediately. So, and this is, unfortunately, this aspect is not always considered. At our level, we are humble workers in public administration. We can just raise our hands and tell to our managers, sir, most probably we should have in place a security, an IT security policy, at least to reduce these threats. Regarding the second question,
yeah. May I ask the national
Please.
authorities, probably you have an observation concerning the first question?
Yes, I have one observation. We work with the port security team.
Yeah.
As a peer official ITs, always we tell them that it's necessary to look for the cybersecurity issues because we have this vulnerability.
Okay.
Someone can use the IT to attack the port using cybersecurity.
Yes.
The project, I will talk about the Maputo port. The project that Maputo port have, they have a system in the port and have backup outside.
Backup.
Yes, they have backup
To
outside.
safeguard.
To save the information.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Sonia. Dr. Lorenzo wanted to add something, or for the second question, which was a pertinent one, as a potential risk, Dr. Lorenzo?
Okay, thank you once again. I'm going to respond or answer the question, the second question.
Yeah.
If I have understood is that what the government is doing or has done to help those who are carrying or were carrying passengers from Maputo to Katembo, to Nyaka or Shifina. The ISPS code does not prohibit, did not prohibit them to continue carrying passengers. What we have been doing or we are doing is just to sensitize the crew, the seafarers, the owner of that small vessel, that they can be used to achieve or to attack the port or the ship on the port, to let them understand the consequences of this situation. They can be given money to bring someone from outside to the port, is what we have been doing, to let them know that, okay, we don't have to prohibit you to continue carrying passengers because it is how you can sustain your life. But you must be aware that at any time, anywhere, you can be used as a vehicle to attack the port. So we are sensitizing the local people to let them know the consequence for the people and for the property. Is what we have been doing. They are still continuing, but we have this task that we have been doing. If you recall, it was 2014 that happened a situation in a terminal, a fuel terminal. From that, we have learned a lesson from that one. And then we've been sensitizing the fishermen, even the small boats that carry passengers to or from Maputo. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Lorenzo.
I'm Orange, and I'm so grateful for this moment, and I feel comfortable using Portuguese to make a question.
Please go ahead. If you're more comfortable in Portuguese, go ahead.
Yes, I will do it. Acerca da avaliação de risco, eu gostaria de saber da seguinte situação. Sabemos que o homem é o próprio provedor dos problemas, na maioria das vezes, e na segurança portuária, gostaria de saber como é que lidam com a sociedade para que ele possa entender essa situação.
Nós, como governo, fazemos campanhas de sensibilização para que as pessoas tenham consciência que a economia de um país, o desenvolvimento de um país, é por via marítima. Imaginemos que tenhamos o porto de Maputo fechado. O que é que vai ser deste país? O que é que vai ser do Interland? Sabemos que tantos países dependem do porto de Maputo para receber, assim como exportar os seus produtos. Então, é uma campanha contínua de sensibilização para que o mal seja evitado. Como dizia o Sr. Stallone, é preferível prevenir do que remediar. Então, a única forma que o governo encontra para prevenir essas situações é fazer as campanhas de sensibilização.
Quando nós não temos a noção das consequências, nós até podemos ter um ganho imediato e ficamos satisfeitos com ele, mas quando não temos a noção da repercussão, em termos de consequências de um simples ato, e para nós fica muito simples praticarmos aquele ato. Mas quando nós tivermos uma noção das consequências, nós tendemos a retardar aquele ato. Mas como é que nós podemos ter noção? Como dizia a engenheira Sônia, uma das formas de levar este ao conhecimento é através de usar a mídia, por exemplo. Não é? Um programa na mídia que fala da segurança portuária, como tem acontecido com a segurança rodoviária, não é? Como tem acontecido com a malária, como tem acontecido com o HIV, não é? Recordem-se que quando a malária e o HIV-Sida era problema do Ministério da Saúde, morria-se mais. Mas a partir do momento que não passou a ser nosso assunto, então nós já assumimos que é problema, então passamos a corresponder com aquelas indicações que o Ministério da Saúde tem nos dado. É a mesma coisa que vai acontecer, o que acontece aqui na área de segurança portuária. Então, se nós levarmos essa informação, envolvermos as comunidades, levando as comunidades que elas fazem parte, elas são contribuintes para a segurança portuária, aí vamos ter lugar. É por isso que a geração fala de sensibilização, e a mídia é uma das fontes que nós vamos usar.
Any other views? Dr. Stano?
Yes,
Yeah,
just
please.
to complement what has been already said, this specific aspect of the security, cybersecurity, is foreseen in the port security program, and it is currently being addressed by the International Maritime Organization, which is one of our implementing partners. Thank you.
So may I move ahead with the second theme? So we'll take other questions as and when it comes with our dear nautical science students. So may I move to Mr. Armando Alvaro. Sir, when we talk about port security, it involves a multi-agency coordination and collaboration. How can different agencies, such as customs, immigration, port authorities, and law enforcement agencies, work together effectively to ensure seamless information sharing, incident response, and enforcement of security protocols? Can it happen?
All of these institutions, they work together.
They work together.
When the vessel becomes in our countries, we have agents of immigration, customs, health,
Law enforcement agencies.
law enforcement, and police.
Yeah.
All of them, they work together.
So in Maputo today, all they work together.
Even in Maputo, we have Maputo committee, Port Maputo committee,
Port Maputo.
which involve all those institutions.
Okay.
Yes, we do.